Hello, so it has been just over a year since I bought my 370Z. It has been a bit of a battle, not the car's fault, partly previous owner's mechanic, partly just some things that happen. But I'm going to tell you everything in a year that has gone wrong with my Z whilst I get ready for a track day. So we'll get checking the car over, pack some tools, and I'll tell you how much this thing has cost me. Now what is pretty good now is, as of yesterday, I have now got 0 issues that I know about or care about wrong with the car, which is it's pretty amazing, but it's taking me a lot of money and a lot of time to get there. Now, I bought this car with the fact that I was aware of the faults these things have, so I made sure a lot of the things were addressed. Things I've done in the the buyer's guide video, the clutch slave cylinder, for example, etc. And this car was meant to have most of that done. Wasn't done to the best quality. Now, the first thing that happened to the car was the steering lock failed. This is quite common on these. If you get one, remove the fuse. I'm going to just throw the ball for the dog. Remove the steering lock fuse. There's lots of videos on how to do that. I unfortunately didn't remove the fuse beforehand, so I had to sort of bypass it. It's pretty simple. It takes a pair of pliers and a bit of wire, and you can bypass it. There's videos on that knocking about, much better than I could make. So if you have that issue, do that. But not a great start to the car. From then on, for a few months, it was pretty plain sailing. Nothing really needed doing, just basic maintenance. All good. I'd never got on with the shifter in this car. It had a short shifter, Cooler Works one, and a light and balanced flywheel, and I always just thought you shouldn't really have a short shifter with a light and flywheel. But it turns out there was something a bit more sinister lurking, and that was that when they replaced the clutch and the flywheel with the JWT one, they forgot to fit the clutch slave cylinder. So I had a mildly failing slave cylinder, which it's not ideal. Now all was okay until I was going off to Talk and Summer Meet on a nice hot day, and I suddenly lost my clutch. Queue about a 4-hour wait because it was a weekend in the summer for the RAC, and took me up to Horsham Developments. Now this is where things started to get a bit expensive. The clutch and flywheel set me back, I think, about £1,500. The labour to fit it is £381. Yes, I could have probably just put a new slave cylinder in and everything would have been okay, but I didn't want to take the risk. Hindsight, it would have been fine, loads of life left on that, but it's not worth it. I don't get much spare time. So after a few weeks, because Jez had to squeeze me in, I picked the car up from Horsham Development and took it home. Now, on the way back home, my dad was following me and he noticed that my car stank of eggs. So you know what that means. It means the catalytic converters were playing up. So £700 for a set of Cobra Cats later. Got those delivered straight to, ordered them from Horsham and delivered straight to there. And then I made my way to Horsham for a day. So, like I said, we went to Horsham, got the car in the ramp, and they noticed that I had a wheel bearing on. This wheel bearing, 160 quid. So that all went well. We got the old cats off the car, and that's when we saw previous owner's mechanic had badly welded the flanges because he fitted the Y pipe upside down. He got a load of weld splatter on the material, and it was an awful job, and I contribute that to the failing of the cats on this car. So put the new cats on, then gave it a quick remap because I needed to treat myself, gained a few more horsepower, which is always nice, and went to leave. But as I was leaving, a belt tensioner failed. There was a clanging noise coming from the front, and it was just one of those things. So that was another £117. Made it a very expensive day. Oh yeah, also had a ABS sensor go. Luckily I found one on eBay, genuine OEM, for 60 quid from some race team who races GTRs up near Silverstone. So that was a result. So I then took the Z and we went on a track day to Cadwell Park. Great day, car performed faultlessly until the journey home. Just outside of Stratford, going to Cafe in a Machine for the bit of lunch on the way back, and then my clutch went again, and the new OE clutch that Horsham fitted failed, which according to Jez is about 1 in 1,000, but I'm generally unlucky with stuff like that. So picked up from Cafe in a Machine on the back of an RAC truck straight to Jez's, and Jez repaired it under warranty. However, he said if I wanted to upgrade the slave cylinder, which I should have done in the first place, I don't know why I didn't, he would split the difference. So he had to take everything back apart, and then he put the uprated slave cylinder, which was talking, I think, and I split the difference with him on that, so I paid £182 for the slave cylinder. Now on the way back from Jez's, just as I got to the end of my drive, the oil light flickered on when I braked. I thought, oh, typical. Pulled in and discovered one of my oil cooler hoses, which previous owner fitted, failed. Luckily it didn't pour much out, if any, but, well it did, it poured out a few litres of oil, but luckily it was fine, everything's okay. So I went to Pertec the next day. That was another 150 quid for hoses. Those hoses shouldn't have failed because they're proper hydraulic ones, they were swaged properly, but the previous owner fitted them and he put a kink like that as soon as they came out the fitting, and that was putting strain on it and caused it to fail. I have changed how it's fitted, and now it should all be good. So this car has always had an issue where now and then, just at idle, the revs would fluctuate, and so would the volts. I always thought it was the alternator the previous owner fitted. But in fact, it was caused by a breather being snapped off the cam cover hose. I'd love to say the previous owner mechanic didn't know about this, but he tried to glue it back on and that didn't work. So I had to fork out 100 quid for a new cam cover, it's a second-hand cam cover, and the gaskets from Torkin, the gaskets were £74, the cam cover was 25 quid. Wasn't something I needed to do or wanted to do, but it meant it wasn't the alternator, so kind of a good thing. So next up was a favourite part of every car owner's life, MOT time. That was good, apart from I had a wheel bearing advisory, so I sorted that out straight away and ordered that from Horsham. So that was £160 for another wheel bearing, but at least both of them are done now. Easy job to do, so don't be scared of them on the 370. But I couldn't get the ABS sensor out, so I bought another one from Horsham, a non-OEM one, but if Horsham was selling it, it's going to be good, and that was about £70. So that's everything that I've had to replace in repairs, not maintenance, just repairs, in this 12-13 month period. It's been a bit more than I wanted to spend. It works out around £3,800, but I'll do a proper breakdown as we go along. You'll see the numbers adding up, which will depress me. So I want to point out that the big expenses were the cats and the clutch. And if the slave cylinder was fitted by the previous owner's mechanic and he didn't put in so much heat into those cats, I think my bills would be a lot less and very reasonable for a car like this. So thank you for watching. Wish me luck at my track day at Brands Hatch, and we'll see you next time. Bye.